of Denial Esports before. They've been in and out of esports for years. They fielded rosters in everything from Overwatch to H1Z1, CSGO. They've had fighting game players, names like xQc.
Did we get paid yet? No, they offered to pay like some of us a really, really small amount. I said no. And what they did is that they paid certain people of our team, right? But this week, apparently they charged back through PayPal every amount that they sent as like settlement, all the people that weren't paid. So
that were coming on the horizon.
He
also offered some former employees equity in the company in lieu of actual pay. On to September of 2017, when Pineapples, who was then an H1Z1 player for Denial and is now a streamer signed to Echo.
What is Zed?
Fox, by the way, releases a twitlonger saying that he and the rest of the Denial H1Z1 team were leaving that org for allegedly being owed $22,000 in prize money that was never paid out to them. This, by the way, was a team that included a little gamer you may have heard of named Tfue. CEO Robbie Rinalda chalked the whole thing up to an unfortunate banking error.
Okay, dude, there's a meme in our team with that guy. Basically, we would ask this guy, okay? We would ask this guy, hey man, where's our money? Or we would ask him, hey man, where's our keyboards? Where are our jerseys? Where are this? And everything we would ask him, he would reply with an answer that said, Ray has the money. Because Ray was the guy under him in the org, right? Every time we ever asked anything, he would say, Ray has the money, all the time. And then we would ask Ray, we would say, hey man, you know, he says he has the money. Where are our shit? Where's the shit? And he would say like, we don't have a printer, okay? Because to put out shipping labels on their packages, he had to print a label. And he would say, we don't have a printer. And then he had a printer. And he said, we're out of ink, okay? And a week later, after he has ink, he said, we don't have the power cord for the printer. And for 2 weeks, he said that he didn't have the cord. A fucking power cord. Dude, a generic wall plug mount. Like, you can't make that up, dude.
I slept on it.
Error, like he was playing fucking Monopoly.
Hey, thanks for the free parking.
After this, multiple staff members began to leave the org themselves. This is truly the beginning of the end for what we knew as Denial Esports, and sometime in 2018, the org quietly shuttered and shut down, and Rinalda disappeared from the scene. In September of 2018, two law firms, Morrison Lee and ESG, released joint statements saying that Denial CEO Robbie Rinalda owes the CSGO team salary, housing expenses, and tournament entry fees totaling around $35,000. They say players from, quote, virtually all of the other teams under Denial at the time were in similar situations. They go so far as to specifically call out Rinalda, saying there's no place in esports for people like him, and he should never work in esports again. And thus ends
at some point, they owed us money, and he said, I just don't have the money, right? And the same day, he tweeted, oh dude, I can't wait to go on that cruise. And he made another tweet saying, yo guys, should I buy this BMW? Lol.
The unfortunate story of the first era of Denial. Now, just a few short months later, in December of 2018, Denial is back, baby. A gentleman by the name of Zach Smith, who comes from a place called Money Matches, which is a data analytics and mock gambling site, buys Denial. And he does a pretty incredible thing. Right from the get-go, he pledges to take on all of the expenses, all of the debt, all of the alleged owed prize money and salaries from the old Denial and repay everyone who was wronged or claimed they were wronged, and make it all right.
Well, one, it's the right thing to do. Okay, it is. You know, the players got fucked. People got burned, and there was a big hole left in the industry with Denial leaving.
Now, why would he do this? Obviously, it's not out of the goodness of his own heart. Well, he said in one interview that simply the cost-to-debt ratio made sense to him, and that acquiring a known brand with already existing cachet in esports was worth the cost of repaying everyone. And in the short term, it was positive news. Zach Smith was releasing statements about how Denial was going to make these goodwill payments and set a new standard in esports. He was going to make everything right and start from a clean slate. Remember that as we proceed.
It's gonna Paul champ.
this next section. And even though he does, as previously stated, admit that teams got fucked under the old denial, he also seems to think that robbing Ronaldo is not such a bad guy, saying, quote, he's not a bad person, he just did a wrong thing, end quote. Ronaldo, for his part, and this will be the last we hear of him for a while, released a tweet in January of this year admitting he made mistakes and saying he mismanaged the brand. But he says that the new CEO and co-owner Zach Smith has righted all his wrongs, or will right all his wrongs. January 27th, 2019, xQc comes right out of the gate on stream.
I saw a tweet saying they now played all their old players that they scammed, right? We paid all our players. Guys, they changed all the players. I did not get an email. I didn't get a DM. I didn't get a message. I didn't get nothing from them. Not a single thing. And later on, I talked to my old teammates. Nobody got anything except one person. They said they offered him $200 out of the $2.8 or $2.4 thousand that they stole, right? And then they say, oh, we made all the players whole. No, not only did you not do it, you didn't even partially do it. And on top, dude, I can't begin to, yeah, I'm done.
Shortly after that, Zach Smith, who you'll remember is now the new face of Denial, he's the co-owner, responded, telling esports betting and news site Unicorn that they tried to get in contact with xQc.
Dude, I've said this a thousand times, dude. Listen, dude. I have a Discord, I have an Instagram, a Snapchat, a Twitter, 2 emails, alt accounts, a phone number that they have. They can knock at my fucking door if they fucking wanted. They probably send me a DM on like an alt account and my fucking Twitter request, something like that, dude. There was no, dude.
After his
I always hated that they said that later on, dude.
In order to repay him and his teammates, but xQc did not respond and couldn't be reached. January 28th, 2019.
Or they could have donated $2 on stream and it would have popped on screen and I was like, oh, sorry, yeah, sure, man.
2 big signings are announced. Number 1, Denial signs the players from a COD team called Overtime, who qualified for the Call of Duty World League. They also sign a CSGO squad, which was formerly Bravado Gaming. April 19th, 2019, Denial drops most of that Overtime Call of Duty roster and signs...
They have to pay to talk to me, lol. Well, it's not really like that. You know what, dude? It actually is like that. I'll finish, okay, since we were already in, I'll finish that video, dude. Apparently a new daily dose, yeah, but it did that.
The core player
look at these zombies
is from Red Reserve. May 13th, 2019, one of Denial's now former COD players, one of the guys from the Overtime roster by the name of Nat Shea, releases a statement alleging he and his teammates are owed unpaid salary, bonus money.
Okay, I can't change my director right now. I'm about to get banned. We're gonna get banned. It worked.
And travel expenses, all from their few months on Denial. He says they agreed on $5,000 a month in salary, which was apparently delayed when they arrived in Columbus, Ohio to compete for their World League matches. Then comes more trouble at a boot camp in Las Vegas, where Nat Shea alleges he had to pay for players' rooms himself for several nights, and that the org only paid for 1 night of hotel rooms for the team. Now, Zach Smith responded to this on the Denial side and refuted some of the claims, saying that Nat Shea and his team signed agreements understanding that any salary payment was dependent on obtaining a P1A work visa in the US. Nat Shea and his teammates are French nationals.
Dude, that's like $6,000. Are you kidding me, dude?
Visa is basically for international athletes to travel to the US and do competitions there and be compensated for them. Nat Shea, for his part, denies this was ever made clear to him and his teammates, and he says he never agreed to those terms. A few days after Nat Shea made these original allegations, Overtime, the org Denial bought their COD team off of and their corresponding World League spot from, claimed earlier this month that Denial has owed them, quote, tens of thousands of euros from that transaction, and that the alleged failure of Denial to pay them those tens of thousands of euros has meant that Overtime has been completely inactive since they sold their roster and their World League spot. That same day, Zach Smith, the co-owner, stepped down from day-to-day operations at Denial, refuting some but not all of Nat Shea's claims, while not commenting on the Overtime allegations and continuing to reaffirm that this new look Denial is trying to do the right thing and set a new standard in esports. One day later,
May 16th,
2019,
kill me.
Esports reported that, according to their own sources, Denial owed a total of more than $110,000 to their former players and to Overtime. Allegedly, according to their sources, it went like this. The players and the org signed letters of intent.
Okay. Before we finish the video, this is trash because if you play in a league, right, whether it's League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, doesn't matter, dude. It is the league's responsibility that the people that own a spot in their league, their players get paid, and if they don't, something like the league helps or whatever. It should never, ever be
Love you, X.
even close to a concern. The player will not be paid ever. It should never be like oh sorry player, get fucked on. No, it should never be like that.
To their former players and to overtime. Allegedly, according to their sources, it went like this. The players and the org signed letters of intent that said that the players would be entitled to salary. Zach Smith then allegedly presented them with contracts that did not include salary at all. According to at least one Esports source, the team or members of the team may have even been coerced into signing this, with Denial allegedly telling them they had to sign it or they just wouldn't get to play. In a Twitter statement, Smith said that Denial had set up an escrow account to pay, quote, the player, which we're guessing is Nat Shea, and his, quote, alleged owed salaries. Escrow, of course, just meaning an account that is administered by a third party. Now, if you thought we were done, we're not. May 28th, 2019, that was Tuesday, a former Denial COD player by the name of Prophet, now he was one of the old Denial players, not one from the overtime roster, said that the goodwill payments made to him by Zach Smith were being rescinded. He posted a screenshot showing that the February payment had apparently been disputed by Smith. Several other ex-Denial players, specifically Gears of War guys, had similar things happen. Now, right after that, Smith came out and said that these payments, which were made earlier in the year, were flagged by his credit card company. And that's why the payments weren't being disputed, because they were viewed as suspicious by his credit card company. He said he has since fixed the situation with this credit card company and provided Dexerto with screenshots to prove it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, at least to this point, is the sordid saga of the Denial Esports controversy. What's crazy to me about this whole situation is that this new look Denial, under completely new management, not involving that Rinalda guy at all, is acting exactly like the old Denial. There's a couple common threads that bind the old Denial to the new Denial. One is obviously all these allegations of failure to pay their players or late payments. Another one is often having these unfortunate bank or credit card incidents come up in the way of payments. And another one is that when a player or a team goes public or threatens to go public, their situation improves dramatically very quickly. Now, if we were to do a where are they now on Rignalda, well, after leaving Denial, he co-founded a company that made craft beer biscuits for dogs. As of right now, Denial's apparent failure to compensate overtime for their World League spot and their former COD roster is ongoing. This simply can't continue. The new Denial can't keep acting like the old Denial, and some would say maybe it's already too late for redemption. Obviously, I don't work for Denial. I'm not signed to Denial, and I've never had any personal or business dealings.
Thank God he'd be fucking homeless.
Denial. So I'm just gonna leave you with these words from CSGO superstar Elige that were tweeted earlier this week.
Oh, I remember this guy.
Any CSGO players, do yourself a favor and never talk to Denial Esports. Save yourself some trouble and don't deal with orgs that have been infamously shady/scummy for their entire existence. Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification.
Dude, shit like that is like, the thing is that it doesn't matter what you tell these players, like, dude, don't sign it. Like, dude, they always sign it. That's just how it is.
3.2.1 for
sometimes it's the like
chat's opinion on religion. Just know this: if the world hates you, know it hated me first. I would give the reference, but you probably know where those words come from.
Okay. No, seriously, dude. Like, sometimes it's the difference between making it or not making it, right? And we've had players that come that were about to sign with Denial, and they send us like DMs and like, yo, dude, what about Denial? Dude, are you guys happy? I was like, dude, we're getting scammed. We're being scammed. We're not getting paid. This is a bait. Run while you can. 2 hours later, dude, announcement, new players, sign, blah, blah. Like, dude, you can't, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Are y'all retarded? I literally just told you.